Hey, this is Jeff Probst, and today I'm hanging out with Stephen Prusakowski on TV Topics.
So we're going to get into your 2+ decades of work on Survivor in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk some TV topics. Remember, there's no pressure. There's no right or wrong answers. It's just a bit of fun. Answer at will. So looking back over the years, what was your relationship with TV? How has it been? Were you a TV junkie, one who watches everything? Were you very selective?
I wasn't a TV junkie, but it did have an influence on me. Johnny Carson was probably the biggest influence, and it's what persuaded me to work hard to get my parents to give me a TV because they didn't want me to have a TV in my bedroom. But I got a little TV and I would watch him, and I didn't really understand what it was I was studying, but I always remember thinking, what is he doing? Versus because I wasn't like a comedian or a joke guy, but I loved how Johnny Carson would walk out and say, well, today in Burbank, and he would tell you some story that happened. And then it's also just a childhood memory of when my mom would let me come home sick from school and we would watch the Brady Bunch or something, and I would bond with her in that way. So I love TV, I love storytelling, but I don't watch everything.
So was there a first TV show, like a primetime show that you remember being yours, though, like that you really loved?
100% NYPD Blue galvanized me. That was when I first realized I like storytelling. I was riveted by it. In fact, I got a meeting through a friend to meet Meredith Steen, who at the time was a writer producer on NYPD Blue. I couldn't believe I was in her office. I couldn't believe this was someone who was actually writing this show that I couldn't get enough of. And when I left her office, I didn't have any career or anything, but I knew that's what I want to do. I didn't know what form it would take or that it would lead to Survivor, but I knew I wanted to tell stories.
That's great. Did you watch that with family, or was that something you watched alone?
No, we watched as a my parents watched that. I would rewatch it. I mean, I really did. Because you remember like the camera work was so innovative at the time. It felt like they were really in the police precinct and finding the shot and everything. And ironically, it's kind of a very familiar feeling on Survivor where we are often finding the shot. So I think the breadcrumbs of that are even, still in the kind of show I'm working on today.
Yeah, it's always amazing when you see like the influences, the early influences, how they continue years later, and then how people, they don't disappear. This is something that like is in you forever, and and kind of shaped who you are and shaped the work that you do.
It's true, and you don't always know that. In fact, you probably never know that. Our kids are both in the arts, and I'm aware of things that are impacting them, but I just until you said that, I didn't think it may always impact you. You may actually be building the foundation of what's going to help you sprout to whatever you end up doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think people always gave TV a bad rap, but I mean, I believe TV is an amazing tool. It's empathy. It takes you to places you will never be. It helps you think bigger. And I was just talking to someone, and I said, you need to watch more television. You need to watch more films because you will understand the world differently. You can't learn it in textbooks. You have to explore. If you can't get out there and do it, TV is a great way to do it if you watch the right shows.
Agreed.
What about shows that make you laugh? Is there one a go-to show?
There's a few, but I think my go-to guy is Danny McBride. I just everything from Righteous Gemstones to Eastbound Down to anything he does, I can't stop laughing, and it makes me feel good. There's something about his self-deprecating, sense of humor that makes me feel better about myself. Well, he's an idiot. So, I mean, I'm not that big. At least I'm not as big an idiot as the guy at Eastbound Down type of thing. But I really like that. And I'm not a big comedy guy. Like, I'm not a traditional sitcom joke sort of thing. Obviously, I love South Park. I'm super happy it's back on. The ability of those guys to shred anyone at any time with the sharpness of these great tools they have is really fun. But yeah, I'd say right now it's McBride and the South Park guys. Trying to think what else if there's something I go to that makes me laugh. Oh, Schitt's Creek. I will watch. My wife and I will go to bed and just pick an episode of Schitt's Creek. We devoured that show, and we're so sad when the episode would end, and you'd be like, gotta wait again.
The amazing chemistry between those. Like you had two comedy legends, and then you bring in often the kids are the weak point or the side characters, but it's like everybody on screen at any time. You're like it was comedy gold.
It really is, and it's those shows like I mean, like Seinfeld. I'll put on any episode of Seinfeld anytime. I don't need any setup, even if I don't know the episode. But it's that same thing. Could you recreate that show? I don't think so. It was that chemistry, and that's how we felt with Schitt's Creek. What was fun about Schitt's Creek is we found it. It had already been on, and then it ended up on another network. I can't remember the story, but it came back. That's when we found it. And then, much like somebody who discovers Survivor, you go, wait, there are seasons before this one that I get to go enjoy. So that was really fun.
Yeah, I started watching Survivor personally day one, and we had a big party. My sister had a big party for the final tribal, huge party. It was like probably 30 people.
Wow.
Since then, decades later, I've had kids. A few years ago, I started watching with my kids. We watched one season, and they're smart kids. They're very strategic and very like, they're thinkers. So they're watching it. They're discussing the strategies, who's doing right, who's doing wrong. And then, like you said, they're like, oh, let's watch more. So we went back and started watching some of the very early days. And it doesn't age because the core of the show is people, humanity, and game and strategy. So, it's amazing that you're 23 and, almost, I'm sorry, 48. I'm blanking. 48 seasons in, going at 49. That's what I'm trying to say. And it never grows old. It's just.
Well, I think you're hitting on one of the things we've done right is we have never messed with the format. We never nudge a story. We never nudge a player. But don't you really think this, or wouldn't you rather do that? We stay out of the way. We set up the show ahead of time. Here are the advantages or the twists or whatever. But then we turn it over to the players, and that trust is what makes it work because it's their show, and what makes it unique is that it's their decisions that you're going to watch. That's what your kids are picking up on. And it makes you say, what would I do in this same situation?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And I'm obviously older than my daughters, and I'm processing it in my own way. They're processing it in their own way, but we're all, it's every tribal comes down where I always ask just before who's going home, and my whole family goes out and gives their story, their reasons why, and we watch, and then we're like, sometimes you're upset, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're totally shocked at what happens, but because it's based in in human interaction. And
you're hitting on something else, which is we have one of maybe the widest ranging audience of any show on TV, from 7 to 77. We just lost a beautiful woman, Sweta, who was 104, never missed Survivor. That means she started watching when she was 80. I mean, and she enjoyed it in the same way that a young fifth grader discovers Survivor and says, wait a second, you're telling me I could go live in a jungle, run in these challenges and lie to each other and try to there's so many elements about Survivor, and it's so easy to get into because every season is a standalone. You don't have to know any history. It's always new. So just pick any season. And I love nothing more than when I meet somebody and they go, oh my God, I just discovered Survivor. What are the best seasons I should watch? And then you can say, well, you can start with Heroes versus Villains. We got this guy, Tony. We got this other guy, Coach. And it's just the legacy is so good. And the show is always evolving. So it's always slightly different each season.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll get into Survivor a little bit more, but one more question. We talked about laughing. What about crying? Is there any TV that makes you cry, a show, an episode?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what would make me cry, or what has made me cry recently. It's a good question. You're catching me off guard. What have I cried? Because I do cry. I'm drawing a blank, but I'm moved. Yeah, I am moved when I watch shows. I'm not, my wife is a little more, that's interesting. I get caught up in the truth of the fiction that I'm watching, it's weird. I'll keep thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important. If you can turn off the world and put yourself in these people's shoes, then something's working. What they did is right, and then I think it's a hyper experience. It takes you even deeper than anything than just like an observer. You can kind of, if you're getting those emotions, they're striking something. So
I'll tell you a show that really got me was The Shield. And the last Walton Goggins' last scene, his last conversation with his sort of partner, Vic, you're nodding your head. He's at a phone booth. And I knew Walton, know Walton a little bit, and I texted him. I said that is one of the single greatest scenes I have ever seen on television, and it's everything you talked about earlier about what TV is and what it can bring out of you. And I could probably tell you half the things he said in that scene, and it's not like I rewatched it. It was embedded in me that my former friend, who I'm going to leverage right now, is telling me I just betrayed he already betrayed me. Like there's the guts that was coming out of Walton as he's banging the phone on the phone booth receiver because he knows his life is over. It was amazing.
yeah. Yeah, I spoke with him about that, and it was an interview about something else, and I said I have to start with this though, and I told him how one of the best, I think one of the best seasons, and one of the best couple of the last episodes, especially how it all wrapped up, and it was so just gut wrenching, and watching these people who you despised at the same time,
Yes.
you're like, oh man, it's still this person. You're like, he feels betrayed. His betrayal of Lem was another one that just gutted me.
Yeah.
So much in that, and an amazing show. It doesn't get brought up enough. It really doesn't.
I agree. It's one of my all-time greats. I just started rewatching it. I'm on episode 5 of season 1.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I'd like to watch that again someday. I'll have the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely worth it. So going into Survivor, I've watched every season, like I said, but 48 was one of my best, one of my favorites. And I hear a lot of people. My daughter said the same. They've only watched about a quarter of them. But why do you think people reacted to this season so strongly?
Don't know. I feel the same. And I can tell you just from the producer hat, I knew as it was unfolding, it was magical. It's my opinion, obviously. There are people online that will say 48 sucked. It was so boring. You can't please everybody, but it goes back to the same thing. Stay out of the way. Just let the show be and let it live and birth. And that's why I said earlier, I think one of the best things we've ever done is we've never messed with the format. We've had twists and things, but they're within the box of Survivor. But what we always do is we let the players dictate who you're going to keep, why you're going to keep them, who you're going to get rid of, how they're going to come back to haunt you, who you're going to vote for the winner. We have no say in that. So every season is this kind of a journey. And as a producer, you have to come to terms with the fact that you can't write the ending you want. You can't determine the player you'd like to represent your season as a winner. You have to just say, put on a bunch of people that we're really invested in and we like, and let's see what they do. And then these things happen. Like there was a monumental moment in Survivor 48 between this young woman, Eva, and this firefighter, Joe, that transcends any show or game or anything. And you don't have to be a Survivor fan. But if you've not seen that scene, you got to go find it and watch it because it will change you as a human and it will remind you we got to take care of each other. When somebody's in need, get over your crap and just say, I'm here for you. How can I help you? That's what happened. And I was lucky enough to be a witness to it and smart enough to stay out of the way. They got it. We'll just keep shooting.
Yeah, I thought that was a beautiful moment. I mean, just incredibly beautiful. And you choking up, which, you are often very stoic and hide what your feelings about what's going on. But it kicked in even more. And I was wondering, what was it about that for you personally? It's like watching that, I mean, like I said, I was watching with my daughter, so I'm in tears. My wife is in tears. My daughters are kind of like looking at us like, what's wrong with you guys? I'm like, I hope my kids become, have those moments like Joe and look out for people like that. And getting to watch it, on a reality show doesn't make it any less. It's like, it does. It's kind of like a wake up, like you can do this. We can be good people again.
I'm going to put an asterisk in something you just said. Watching it on a reality show doesn't make it any different. I think that's a stigma that still lingers. Survivor is an unscripted, very messy, unpredictable, real, raw show shot in the jungle. No second takes. We don't ever encourage people what to say or what to do. So when people say, "Oh, it's a reality show," I go, "Man, you don't watch it. If you watched it, you would say it's like you said earlier, it's a study of human behavior. It's a lot of things. But that moment, the reason that moment got to me is the same as you were alluding to. When you're a parent, you see the world in a certain way. And I'm watching this young woman thinking, oh my gosh, her parents are going to like, be so worried about her knowing this happened. And here's this hero who's going to come in. And what was happening for me that we didn't show as it started happening, I'm looking into the jungle off camera. If my camera's here, I'm looking this way, talking to myself, going, hold it together. You got a job to do. Hold it together because I was losing it already. And then I thought I'd held it together. So now I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay. I feel like I know I should contribute now. I think I know where to take the show. I've got an idea in my head structurally of how to end this moment. And then I say the word, there's a young boy or girl who's saying to his parents or her parents. And the minute I said parents, I couldn't control it because I just saw myself in that situation. And there was never a question of whether we should leave it in the show. It's not the prettiest cry. It's hard for me to watch it because I sound drunk, but that was my real true Jeff Probst feeling. And I think sometimes people get confused because I'm not playing a character on Survivor. That's me. That's how I feel. That's how I talk. I'm from Kansas. My grammar's not always the greatest. We leave it in, all the fixins, whatever I might say. That's how I speak. So I try to hold myself accountable in the same way we hold the players. And this was one of those moments where, approach, you got to let it live. It's going to be ugly, but it's got to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting me a little bit emotional now, just even hearing that. And by the
Mm.
way, when I say reality TV, I mean TV based in reality. I'm not like it's because I agree.
No,
I
I
don't
didn't take
see it as
offense. Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it does come up the it's not a term that people speak of very highly when you say that. So it's a thing of its own and always has been, which
Yeah.
is why it's around 49 seasons
You
later.
know, you know what's interesting is I think we're the outlier. Even though we were the first, no shows followed in our footsteps. Today's most
Mhm.
popular shows are big and they have spectacle and they have shiny floors and great costumes or a manor or whatever. And they're incredibly well produced. I mean, they're really fun. They're entertaining. I see why people dig them, but they're different from us. We're still that show sitting out in the jungle going, the tribe has spoken.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so many shows are now like so overproduced. There are a few shows I started watching, and then I'm like, this isn't in any way reality. This
Yeah.
is overproduced. I wouldn't say garbage, but something. Just not for me. What I like about Survivors, turn it on, and it's like you're hanging out with a group of people. It's like you're on the island with them. There's
Hmm.
no one's telling you what to think or who to like. And often people disagree. You have your favorites. You're happy with the winner. You're disappointed with the winner. My brother is another person who watches it. We always call up, talk to each other the next day and say, "Hey, you're happy?" And then we have our big hour-long discussion about
I
why this
love
person should have
this.
won or shouldn't have won. So it's something unique and something very special.
I love that.
So if you had the chance to compete on the season unrecognized, would you? And how do you think you would do?
No one's ever posed it to me unrecognized. That changes everything. Yes, then I would love to. And I feel like every survivor who applies, I too feel confident that my social skills would hang me in long enough that I got a shot. I think I know when to pop my head up and when to stay out of the way. My tongue and my impatience at certain times would probably be my biggest, you know, Achilles heel. Because at some point I'm going to say, no, you have told me that story 4 times, and let me help you with how to structure that a little or something. But yeah, no one's ever asked it to me that way. I'd love to do it because what you don't realize until you're actually playing, just to use an example, but as a metaphor, that wall you're climbing up, it is 12 feet. You do have to figure out how to get to the top of it. You are covered in mud. You will slip. and you're panicking that you're not physical enough to get up there, and that's messing with you, and the adrenaline is coursing through your body. Well, that physical challenge you're trying to accomplish is also the metaphor for the entire experience. The storm is coming. You're going to get wet 100%. And there will be bugs all over you in the morning, and you're going to have bites that you didn't know where they came from. Oh, no, I forgot to tell you, there isn't a bag of food that we don't tell people about. There is no food. The water you got to go get from the well. And while you're gone, these people are going to conspire against you and try to vote you out. That's Survivor. And that's why people, when they get out there, say, oh my God, it's more than I thought. And then they go, oh my God, it's more than I thought. It's everything I hoped. And that's what continues to make Survivor work, is that it's a real experience that I wish everybody could have, because you'd find you're better than you thought or as good as you hoped. You might not win, you might not last every day, but I bet you got more in your tank than you think, because we're rarely tested in that way.
That's awesome. I'd love to be a contestant. I always, my daughters say, no, they don't want me doing it. I'm like, I think I do pretty well unless I open my mouth a little too much. But I can be kind of, my humor might, it depends on my humor. And if they don't, then I'm in trouble. I'll be gone day one. If you played and you were unrecognized, would you play the loyal game, or do you think you'd play more of a cutthroat game?
Well, that's a subjective term, because um, I think the way I would play is loyal with a degree of cutthroat. I think I'd have to be honest and say, look, you and I are either going to go to the end together, or one of us is going to take each other out. The threat I'm going to hold over your head is that if I'm on the jury and you're in the final and you've done something that I think's outside our arrangement, you'll never get my vote. So I'm just telling you, let's work together. I'm not saying you always got to stay with me. I would play a little Tony Soprano in there of, I will hurt you in the end if you mess with me. And then I would try my best to take you out before you take me out. And I kind of get to the end, and then I'll figure out how to win. I already realized in this answer that you just asked me the question, I would suck at Survivor. I'd be terrible because I'm already regretting what I just said. I want to go back and rewind and rewrite and hit delete. So I don't know how I'd do, but yes, I would do it. If I could do it unrecognizable, I would absolutely play.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the outside looking in, not what you're seeing on the inside. It's what they're seeing, and if they believe it, they trust you, and you create those bonds, then you're in a good shape. If you're that person, they say they're already looking for the idol. It's minute one. Well, then you're probably not going to last too long.
And yet, we've had players. One of our players that would be on the Mount Rushmore of Survivor is Tony. He looked for the idol within 2 minutes, and he's won twice, and he's on that Mount Rushmore. He's up there with Parvati and Sandra and Boston Rob. So there isn't a way to play Survivor. There's only your way to play Survivor.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much time, so I want to hop into the rest of the TV topics questions. I could talk to you about Survivor for another 2 or 3 hours, maybe longer, but we will hop over to TV topic questions. So you grab your remote control, and Genie comes out and offers you this TV-based wish. What TV show do you want one more season of? It could be a prequel season, it could be one in the middle of any other seasons, or it could be tagged on to the end as a follow-up season.
Man, that is a tough choice. I gotta go with Tony. I woke up this morning, I got myself a gun. Mama always said you were the chosen one. You got a 1 in a million, but you were. When that theme song would play, I would dance around my living room and go, "Oh God, it's on!" But I don't want the theme song to end, because that means the episode starts, and the minute it starts, I mean it's a minute closer to ending, and I just want to hear Tony breathe one more time in the therapist's office and talk about his anxiety while he goes and whacks somebody. Yeah, it's The Sopranos.
And where would that season be? A prequel, in the middle, another one at the end?
In the middle. No, in the middle. Yeah, in the middle.
Do you think they can do another one at the end? If you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can't do it without him, but
this is the magic.
Yeah, magic. Oh, right, magic. No, I think the middle. I think because I didn't ever want it to end. So I don't want to see more after it ended, or what happened after it ended. I like the middle, and I used to get really annoyed. I'll give you 2 episodes to not kill somebody. That's it. By the third episode, somebody needs to die, and it needs to be somebody that I'm invested in, or somebody that's going to turn the story in a way that helps Tony or hurts Tony. And just that, talking about a cast. I mean, a cast like from no other, so many different types of people, but all of them now, indelible. You can't think of The Sopranos without thinking of that array of people who were in it.
And yes or no, I don't have time to get into it too deep. Is Tony
Okay.
alive
He's
at the end of
alive.
episode? He's alive at the end of it.
Yeah, he's alive. Yeah, he's
Oh,
alive.
I need another 3 hours with you. Another on top of the other Survivor hours. I need more to talk about that. How about the greatest moment in TV history according to Jeff Probst?
Wow.
Simple
Greatest
one.
moment in TV history? That's a yeah, man. Greatest moment in TV history. What's the greatest moment in TV history? What's a moment I can remember where I was? Greatest moment in TV history. Man, you stumped me. Um the greatest moment, I'm trying to think. Is it even a scripted moment? Is it a live moment? Is it a sports moment? I don't know. I hate to leave you hanging on that one. I don't have one.
We'll see if you can come back to it.
Okay.
4 TV shows that make up your Mount Rushmore.
The Shield, Sopranos, Game of Thrones, and what am I missing my last? Oh, Breaking Bad.
Oh, fantastic. Are you a big Better Call Saul fan?
Yeah. Better Call Saul,
Yeah.
but also Taylor Sheridan fan. Taylor Sheridan will never get Emmy love, maybe, but I love all of his shows. I love the characters. I love the storytelling. I love all of it. So I'm not a purist in any way. I mean, the 4 shows I gave you on Mount Rushmore, they're on most people's Mount Rushmore. But I just like shows that entertain me. And if it entertains me, then it's great. That's how I feel about Survivor in the same way. Like if you're entertained, then great. And if you're not, then it's not for you. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
You named a few of them. The definitely. I would go with. I would probably go with Better Call Saul and Sopranos,
Mm, okay.
and maybe The Shield. But
Okay.
I don't actually. I don't think about it. I just like to hear what other people's are because like it is very subjective. And at the end of the day, you named 4 amazing ones. I've had people going completely into left field, and I was like, you know what? That's a great choice as well. So
Yeah.
it's just a massive Mount Rushmore. There's more room,
Right. Right.
plenty of rock to carve. And how about if you had a magic door, one that allowed you to access any live or to walk into a TV show, to live in it, in and out whenever you want. So
Wow.
you can walk in, your real life pauses, you hop in, you can take a break and live in this world. Which show would it be? And when you exit, it's as if nothing ever, as if you never
Oh,
disappeared.
okay.
Time did not
The
pass.
Shield. The Shield. And the reason is I love watching police interrogations on YouTube. I love it. I would love to be inside the clubhouse with the guys as they're talking about whatever scheme they're going to pull or whatever they're into, just so I could look around and go, "You all are real people. You're real. I know it's fiction, but this is magic. That you're really going to do this. You're really thoughtful human beings, and yet I really want you to succeed. And if it's okay, can I ride in the back and just kind of be a witness? I got to get home later, but yeah, I would love that. I would love, oh my God, that's such a fun idea. Why don't we do that show? Somebody needs to do that show. Figure out how to do a show where you can be inside the show you love.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Maybe someday it'll happen, and then it'll ruin it all. And we're like, no one
Yeah,
will
that's
come out
true.
of that show. Yeah, it's kind of like the Black Mirror episode with Paul Giamatti, where he can go into his old photos and get stuck in this world, revisiting things he's done. And I'm like, I don't know. I think we need to keep
Yeah,
on living. So
yeah, I
uh,
like that.
before before we go, did you come up with the greatest moment in TV history? If not, we'll continue
No,
some other time.
I don't have one. It's a tall order. Do most people have one?
People come up with one, but it doesn't matter. I've had other people pass on it because it's a tough one. I don't like to give the questions out in advance because I do like people to
Yeah.
have that, whatever that original connection is, what pops into your brain rather than a scripted response.
Yeah, I'm trying to think even now. I'm guessing it would probably be a sports event. Not because I'm a sports junkie, but because I think the idea of sports and competition and people doing things they can't believe they did, or the unthinkable, like the Olympics, the US hockey team, something like that, where you just can't believe you just witnessed in real time something happening. Because that's something I'm excited about for the future of TV is with all of the things that are happening in technology, live, real live, not fake, real live is going to become more and more and more something, at least for me, that I'll be craving. And I want to find it in ways other than sports. I want to find
Yeah.
it in, like, I would love to be able to do Survivor live and just let you watch. Like, when you watch reality of a scene when they're at camp and nothing's happening, it's almost as riveting as something happening because you're just watching this one guy's opening a coconut. This guy's frustrated trying to get the fire going. The woman behind him is the greatest fire maker, but he won't give her the flint. And nobody's saying anything. And you're just watching human behavior. So maybe there's something in there where the greatest moment in TV is going to be revisited by bringing us these real experiments, these real moments.
Well, make it happen. I'd love to see it. I do have to wrap up. I
Okay.
want to thank you for your time. Thank you for all the seasons of great television and this great conversation. I love your enthusiasm, not just only about television, but about Survivor. To have that much passion and to wear it on your sleeve at all times,
I
and so
do.
proudly and so enthusiastically and so authentically is
Yeah.
something special. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Stephen. I enjoyed the conversation.